is very rarely seen by the public and is only seen on regimental parades, and when not on parade, it is housed and protected in the mess, the officers' mess in Medicine Hat. Since the end of the Second World War, the South Alberta Light Horse has participated in a large number of overseas missions as augmentees to the United Nations and NATO forces. Everything from Cyprus to Bosnia to Kosovo to Haiti, you name it, the South Alberta Light Horse members have been there. It affords the members the opportunity to exercise the skills that they've been trained in garrison and in the classroom lectures and put it into a practical setting. To prepare our soldiers for overseas missions and the unit to become more proficient, we spend a great deal of time in garrison training the soldiers in a variety of subjects and topics, whether it be weapons, tactics, techniques of employing those weapons, or how to operate in a larger context than just a single unit. These exhibits show a great deal of pictures and artifacts of the unit in training within the garrison, as well as performing some of the many ceremonial duties that the regiment carries out, such as doing parades, roll pass, exercising freedom of the city, for example, in Medicine Hat, and participating in Remembrance Day services around the province. As we are a pan-Alberta regiment, one of the objectives we've got is to go into the communities as much as possible and to reintroduce ourselves to our history. This part of the exhibit shows a number of the weapons and systems that we use to train our soldiers on. Here we have the various weapons, the C6, the C9, the C7 rifle, and the C8 carbine that we extensively train our soldiers on, as well as behind me on the panel, a lot of the computer simulators that we use to simulate larger actions that we can provide the soldiers in a small setting. So part of the training that they receive is simulated versus in regards to computer-provided simulations, as well as hands-on training with the weapons that they would be using on tour. The training that's provided for the soldiers is realistic and appropriate for the level of the job that they're doing, either as part of the regiment or on overseas tour on missions with the United Nations or NATO. Of course, there is a great deal of danger involved in the type of work that we train the soldiers to do, and we have had a casualty in the form of Private Leckie, who was killed in a range accident in Wainwright, and a number of soldiers wounded in that same incident. This is a constant reminder of being vigilant for safety and concern for the soldiers.
South Alberta, shoulder! Up! March on the guidon. South Alberta, to your guidon, show the salute. Present! Up!
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the march on of the regiment. I'm absolutely delighted to be given the opportunity to introduce to you Ambassador Omar Samad.
Let me start by expressing my deep appreciation for this opportunity to be a part of this celebration, marking the centennial of the South Alberta Light Horse Regiment and today's official opening of the Provincial Museum's Hoof Prints to Tank Tracks exhibition. It is befitting that this event takes place this week when the world marks the 60th anniversary of VE Day. As we remember and salute all members, past and present, of this regiment, including all those who served in past wars and today in such places as Afghanistan, and as we address those who will be serving in the future as peacekeepers and peace builders in other war-ravaged areas of the world, let us not forget that your dedication, your courage, and service as Canadians, as well as a member of the larger community of nations, and as promoters of peace and security, is of utmost importance. It is significant simply because in cases when there are no other options, peacekeeping and helping rebuild nations, state institutions, and economies makes the world safer. It is an engagement well worth the investment, and it is very much appreciated by those around the world who are defenseless and yearn for liberty, prosperity, justice, human rights, and rule of law. Relations between Canada and Afghanistan have never been this close since our two countries established relations more than 37 years ago. Afghanistan experienced over 2 decades of turmoil and different forms of conflict, and in late 2001, the international community, including Canada, helped us bring an end to war and suffering and put together a blueprint for rebuilding Afghanistan. This process has begun and has many components, chief among them stability and security, democratization, and economic reconstruction and development. Afghans are grateful for the assistances pledged and delivered by the Canadian military and other government departments in all those areas. We hope to continue to further improve and strengthen these ties. At this point, I would like to thank the South Alberta Light Horse Regiment Foundation and the sponsors for putting together an impressive program today and for giving me the opportunity to be part of it. I have to admit that at the same time, I am sorry that I will be missing tonight's reception and dinner hosted by the Honorable Lieutenant Governor and the Foundation, as other engagements, including Mother's Day tomorrow, call me back to Ottawa. Once again, congratulations to Alberta and to the regiment, and I also have to say that I was very impressed by Mr. Graves' book, Century of Service, which I hope all of you will have a chance to read. Thank you very much again.
At this time, I would like to ask Brigadier General Beer to offer a presentation on behalf of the South Alberta Light Horse to His Excellency.
My very great honor to present a token of our appreciation, a token of this regiment's appreciation to the Ambassador for having taken the time to come and join with us today on this very, very special occasion, a centennial of a pioneering regiment in a pioneering province in a pioneering country that has served a century plus Canada and Canadians at home and around the world with distinction.
Please accept our thanks for attending this opening designed to honor the dedication, hard work, and self-reliance of the men and women who in the last century have served and who continue to serve in Alberta's Senior Militia Regiment, and also to mark the 60th anniversary of VE Day, where our veterans are presently receiving the thanks of the people of Holland and Northwestern Europe. Your Excellency, let me again express our thanks to you for attending this special occasion, which I'm sure will assist in the warm relationship between Canada and Afghanistan. And Your Excellency, as you see the size of Canada, you can appreciate that we have no territorial ambitions in Afghanistan. nor do we crave your resources. We can't even agree to develop our own. But as your good friend Kristen Cabot said, your success is our success. And on behalf of the regiment and the foundation, I would like to especially thank Dr. Bruce McGilvery and his staff for their outstanding support, for their professionalism in developing our exhibition. And on behalf of the regiment and foundation, I would like to thank Minister Marr for his support. At the entrance to the exhibition, you will see a list of many firms, individuals, and organizations who have given us their support. Their generosity is greatly appreciated. Let me extend thanks to the members of the regiment who spent so many hours working on this centennial, and in particular, those that spent thousands of hours redoing our half-track, which was incidentally rescued from the Lord Strathcona, liberated, I guess is the word, and was the command vehicle for our regiment, the South Alberta Regiment, 29th Canadian Armoured Reconnaissance Regiment, in the battles through Normandy. I'd also like to mention the directors of the South Alberta Light Horse Regiment Foundation and thank them for their undying loyalty to this foundation and to this regiment. Bill Grace, Lieutenant Colonel Brian Hodson, Major Monty Johnson, Major Robert McKenzie, Lieutenant Colonel Tom Putt, Lieutenant Colonel Harry Quarton, who is in Europe, Major Paul Robeson, Honorary Colonel John Watson. And as part of our celebration of 100 years of service, the Foundation commissioned a book entitled Century of Service, The History of the South Alberta Light Horse. This book was written by Donald Graves, published by Robin Brass, and illustrated by Edmontonian Ron Volstead. This magnificent book, produced by Donald Graves with the assistance of many, is a fascinating story of people, Albertans, almost all of them, drawn from civilian life in an earlier time to defend their homes, and then to fight on foreign soil to prevent those wars from returning to their own soil. Hence the name of the exhibition, Hoof Prints to Tank Tracks, from the Queen's Cowboys prior to the turn of the century to peacekeeping today. It gives me great pleasure to welcome our distinguished author, Donald E. Graves, his wife Diane, Robin Brass, our publisher, Ron Volstead and his wife, who produced the artwork in our book. Would you please stand? This book will be autographed by Donald Graves inside the museum. And thanks to the officers and soldiers who paraded here today, the Royal Canadian Artillery Band who provided the music, the gracious support of the Lord Strathcona's Horse, and of course the South Alberta Light Horse. Now, as you're aware, honorary colonels are bound by tradition and protocol, which they are free to change, to alter, and to meet the occasion. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, it would be wonderful if we thank all of those that have worked so hard, who are in parade today. Could we have a round of applause?
Today is more than just the official opening of the exhibition, Hoof Prints to Tank Tracks. It captures for me what will be the future of this museum, your museum. Yesterday, Community Development Minister Gary Marr announced that Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth will be touring the museum on May 24th as part of her centennial visit, and leaving behind a new name for us, the Royal Alberta Museum. More than that, still, the provincial government, with support from the federal government, has committed, as part of the Centennial Legacy program, to renew the museum, to create a destination of international renown. Details of this commitment will be revealed quite soon. The time is right for the museum's renewal. The province is 100 years old. Great museums are built once, but their legacy lives for many generations. When I see you here today, I know our vision for this new museum, which is to preserve and tell the story of Alberta, the experience of people and places over time, and inspire Albertans to explore and understand the world around them. I know that it's the right vision. Because here we are in this beautiful setting, celebrating the telling, with all of your help, a uniquely Albertan story that has roots in every corner of this province, and yet has deep and meaningful historical ramifications in Europe, and even today, thousands of miles away in Afghanistan. What a wonderful role for the new Royal Alberta Museum to help us understand our collective history and our place in the world. I'm honored that the South Alberta Light Horse Regiment and Foundation look to us to be partners in this project. I want to particularly thank Lieutenant Colonel Tom Putt and his soldiers for the time and passion they've contributed to the project, and Colonel Milner for his leadership. Hoof prints to tank tracks will be seen by tens of thousands of Albertans in this centennial year. It's certainly a highlight of our 2005 celebration. Congratulations to everyone involved in the gallery, today's events. Hope you have a great afternoon in your museum. Thank you.
1, 2, 2, 3. Yeah. I'm going to kill it. It's amazing. Never fails to impress me. Yeah, this is, we call it the C8 and C7.
Well, I think the exhibit is, you know, once you walk through it, it's kind of a tour de force, and I think the central strength of the exhibit is that it's not so much military in nature as that it follows the history of the province. It's very interwoven in how the many communities in Alberta, you know, from Fort McMurray all the way down to Medicine Hat, have contributed to the regiment. And when you see the interplay of people from the Speaker of the Legislature at the turn of the century to all these folks, common folks who have done their thing and moved on, it just is so interwoven with the province and its history.
Well, today's an awesome day where we get to actually bring to the public a century of service of an outstanding regiment in Alberta, the South Alberta Light Horse. And the fact that the Provincial Museum has allowed the regiment to display for the whole of this summer during Alberta Centennial the artifacts and the stories from that century of service is just superb. So today has been a great day in opening that exhibit and inviting Albertans to come see their Army.
Well, there's a 5,000 square foot exhibit that speaks to the history of this regiment, the South Alberta Light Horse Regiment, which has drawn soldiers and citizen soldiers from across the province. And why we're excited? Well, for several reasons. One, the unit is officially 100 years old. Well, so is Alberta. So when you look at their role in shaping Alberta and affecting the Canadian situation militarily, it parallels what's gone on in Alberta. I like the exhibition because it's full of objects. I mean, the museums are about real things and on objects, but it also is about the personal lives of the soldiers. So it's not just the events that shaped them, the events that happened in World War I, World War II, of course, but you get a glimpse into what life was like on a daily basis. And I think the exhibition will appeal not just to the veterans or to the people who study military history, but just folks who've never thought about military history, never knew there was a South Alberta Light Horse. I think they'll be moved by what they see there. And hopefully we'll read a little more about the military history and come to appreciate the role the military has played in shaping this province.